In recent years, Iceberg videos have become increasingly popular on YouTube. For those unfamiliar with the concept, Iceberg videos explore various facts and trivia surrounding a specific topic, organized in the shape of an iceberg. They start with well-known facts at the top and gradually delve into more obscure trivia and theories as they descend to the bottom. With the release of Invincible Season 3, there's never been a better time to dive into an iceberg centered on this series. In this video, we'll be exploring an Invincible iceberg that includes facts and trivia from both the show and the comics. Please note this video will contain spoilers for both. If you enjoy Invincible content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this. Starting off with Tier 1, we have Think, Mark, Think, an iconic line delivered by Omni-Man during the climactic finale of the first season. This line quickly became a viral meme, spreading like wildfire across the internet. Thousands of edits featuring this scene with different characters surfaced, significantly contributing to the show's popularity. In fact, many people were introduced to Invincible through this meme. Interestingly, Omni-Man doesn't actually say "Think, Mark, think" in the show, as many fans believe. He only says "Think, Mark." However, in the comic, the line is identical to how it's portrayed in the meme, which likely contributed to the misconception. Every Viltrumite has a mustache. You've probably noticed that every adult male Viltrumite in the series has a mustache. It's explained that the mustache serves a ceremonial role in Viltrumite culture, and since Viltrumites are very proud of their heritage and take traditions seriously, all of them are required to grow one. However, the exact ceremonial purpose remains unclear. Some fans believe the out-of-universe reason for Viltrumites having mustaches is that the name Viltrum is a pun on philtrum, which is the vertical groove between the nose and the upper lip. However, in the Q&A section of Invincible issue 141, Robert Kirkman, the writer and creator of Invincible, disproved this theory, explaining that the name Viltrum came from a random ingredient he read on a deodorant label, which he has since forgotten. The Walking Dead cast. Invincible shares much of its cast with The Walking Dead, another series based on a comic created by Robert Kirkman. Stephen Yeun, who played Glenn in The Walking Dead, voices the titular character in Invincible. Additionally, every single member of the Guardians of the Globe is voiced by an actor from The Walking Dead. According to an Instagram post, Jeffrey Dean Morgan will also appear in Invincible, though his role has not yet been revealed, but fans speculate he will most likely play either Conquest or Thrag. Special episodes. Before the release of Season 2, Amazon released a special episode centered around Adam Eve, based on her spin-off comic. The episode was well received by fans. So far, Adam Eve is the only character to have a special episode, but fans have speculated that Amazon might create more specials focusing on other characters. The most popular contender among fans is Rexplode, who also had a spin-off series detailing his origin story. Guardians of the Globe is the Justice League. This is perhaps one of the most obvious entries on the iceberg. The Guardians of the Globe are a clear homage to DC's Justice League, with each hero directly inspired by a character from DC Comics. Darkwing, Red Rush, War Woman, Martian Man, and Aquarius are modeled after Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, and Aquaman respectively. While Immortal and Green Ghost have slight differences from their counterparts, it can be assumed that they're based on Superman and the Green Lantern. Immortal is Abraham Lincoln. One of the funniest reveals in Invincible is that Immortal has taken on numerous identities throughout his long life, including that of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Later in the comics, when Immortal has children with Duplicate, he names one of them Abraham, in honor of his former identity. Oliver Grayson. Oliver is the second son of Omni-Man and a half-brother of Invincible. He debuted in Invincible issue 26 during Omni-Man's visit to planet Thraxa. As a child of a Viltrumite and a Thraxan, Oliver is unique. Thraxans have a very short lifespan of only 9 months, while Viltrumites live for thousands of years. This caused Oliver to age at an accelerated rate, but as Viltrumite genes took over, his aging slowed down and eventually normalized when he reached adulthood. His Thraxan heritage also grants him abilities not seen in other Viltrumites. One of his most notable traits is his near photographic memory, allowing him to recall even the most detailed memories, including those from his time as a toddler. Due to his alien background, Oliver often felt more disconnected from humanity than Mark, which led him to be more ruthless and fatal when fighting villains. Two-Punch Man. In the third episode of the first season, while the heroes were auditioning for the Guardians of the Globe, a character appears who greatly resembles Saitama from One Punch Man. Fans dubbed this character the Two-Punch Man due to the striking resemblance. Unfortunately, there isn't much information about this character as he doesn't do much in the show and is seen only sparingly. The Blue Suit. In Invincible issue 51, Mark changes his iconic costume, adopting a new blue suit. This suit quickly became associated with hardship and trauma, as it was worn during some of the most brutal storylines in the comics. Fans even began comparing it to Spider-Man's black symbiote suit due to similar narrative themes in both comics. Mark would later return to his original suit in Invincible Returns, but he briefly wore the blue suit again later in the comics, just before his traumatic experience with Anissa. This led fans to call the blue suit cursed. The Viltrumite Purge. The event known as the Viltrumite Purge refers to a conflict that occurred among the Viltrumites eons ago. The purge is believed to have been triggered by the death of the Viltrumite king, which caused turmoil within the Empire. This unrest eventually escalated into a bloody conflict, leading the Viltrumites to eliminate anyone they deemed weak from their species. According to Omni-Man, the Viltrumite population was cut in half during the purge, but those who survived became incredibly powerful. Once the conflict ended, the Viltrumites resumed their mission of expanding the Empire across the galaxy. Invincible War. The Invincible War is a major event in the comics, likely to be adapted in Season 3 of the show, where evil variants of Invincible, unleashed by the villain Angstrom Levy, invade Earth. Levy's goal was to torment Invincible and irreparably tarnish his reputation. He managed to assemble 16 evil Invincibles by promising them new territories to conquer across the multiverse. This event is notable for featuring characters from other Image Comics properties, such as Witchblade, Savage Dragon, and even Spawn. The invasion resulted in the destruction of several major cities and countless lives lost. Earth ultimately repelled the invasion by mobilizing every superhero on the planet. By the end of the war, 8 evil Invincibles were killed, while the remaining 8 were betrayed by Levy and trapped in a different universe. Invincible games. Since the show's release, Invincible characters have appeared in various games. Most notably, Omni-Man is a playable character in Mortal Kombat 1. Characters from the series have also made appearances in Fortnite and Funko Fusion. Skybound has also released a story-driven game centered around Adam Eve, as well as a mobile squad RPG, Guarding the Globe, where players assemble a team of superheroes from the Incredible Universe. Additionally, a AAA game based on Invincible has been announced, though details about this project remain undisclosed to the public. Space Racer. Space Racer is a recurring character in the Invincible comics. Originally, he was an old enemy of Omni-Man, defeated over 100 years before the events of the story. Omni-Man later wrote a novel about his encounter with Space Racer during his time on Earth. However, it was later revealed that Space Racer had been alive this entire time, trapped in an asteroid belt. After being freed, Space Racer was recruited by the Coalition of Planets and joined the war against the Viltrumites. He played a crucial role in the conflict due to his unique weapon, a gun considered one of the most powerful in the universe. According to Omni-Man, this gun can pierce through anything, making it capable of killing Viltrumites and even destroying entire planets. However, the weapon is bound to Space Racer. If anyone else tries to wield it, it simply returns to its owner. Inner ear weakness. In Invincible issue 50, Cecil reveals a key weakness that could potentially kill Invincible and other Viltrumites. Due to their ability to fly, the equilibrium in their inner ear is far more critical than it is for humans. This makes them highly susceptible to a specific frequency of sound that causes immense pain and could even be lethal. Cecil exploited this weakness during a confrontation with Invincible by transmitting the sound through earbuds he had given Mark earlier in the story. It is implied that more powerful Viltrumites are less vulnerable to this type of attack, but it still causes them significant pain. Ragnars. Ragnars are a beastly alien species from a distant planet and are among the most dangerous beings in the universe. The gravity on their home planet is so dense that they evolved to be incredibly tough just to move, making them extraordinarily strong and durable. They are one of the few creatures capable of injuring a Viltrumite, even the most powerful ones. Unlike Viltrumites, however, Ragnars are purely instinct-driven beasts. They were first discovered by Omni-Man, who noted their immense power and barely managed to escape from them. Recognizing their potential threat, the Viltrumites devised a creative solution. They placed a massive solar disk in front of the Ragnar sun, freezing the planet and its inhabitants. Later in the story, the Coalition of Planets freed the Ragnars and used them as weapons in their war against the Viltrumites. Seance Dog. Seance Dog is an in-universe comic book character and Mark's favorite superhero. When Omni-Man sent the Thraxans to recruit Mark, one of them dressed as Seance Dog to appear more friendly, which left Mark confused. Interestingly, in the comics, the character is known as Science Dog, but the name was changed to Seance Dog in the show. Robert Kirkman, the creator of the series, explained that he and artist Cory Walker wanted to retain the rights to Science Dog as a standalone property, allowing them the option to develop it further in the future. Thrag. Thrag is the main villain of Invincible and the strongest Viltrumite. He serves as the Grand Regent of the Viltrum Empire and is a formidable foe throughout the series. Trained in all forms of combat from birth, Thrag is by far the most competent and skilled combatant in the universe. Despite his immense power, Thrag is not a king or emperor. He holds the title of Regent, and his life's mission is to find a true heir to the Viltrumite throne. His strength is so overwhelming that he easily defeated both Invincible and Omni-Man simultaneously. Prior to their battle, Nolan even warned Mark that they stood no chance against Thrag. However, unlike other villains in the series, Thrag doesn't rely solely on brute strength. In addition to his physical power, he demonstrates exceptional leadership and intelligence, making him a highly competent and strategic leader of the Viltrumites. Argal the Great, Omni-Man's father. Argal was the true king of Viltrum, assassinated by Thetis, the first Viltrumite to rebel against the Empire and the founder of the Coalition of Planets. Argal was also the father of Omni-Man, but Nolan grew up unaware of his royal heritage for reasons that remain unrevealed. After Argal's assassination, Thrag was chosen to lead the Viltrumites. He carried Argal's skull to avenge the Emperor's death and made it his mission to find a true heir to the throne. During the outbreak of the virus that killed the majority of the Viltrumite population, it was assumed that Argal's heir had died, which caused Thrag to slow down his search. However, he later discovered Nolan and Mark's heritage and information he tried to conceal, as he viewed them as traitors to the Viltrumite Empire. Tech Jacket. Tech Jacket is a powerful superhero from the Invincible universe who managed to hold his own against the Viltrumites, and even assisted Mark during the war. He originally starred in his own 6-issue miniseries, and his story continued in Invincible, where he was recruited by Omni-Man to fight against the Viltrumites. The source of Tech Jacket's power is a battlesuit created by Regalians, an alien species known for their intelligence but physical weakness. Each Regalian is assigned a suit called a Tech Jacket at birth to compensate for their lack of physical strength. When one of the Regalians crashed on Earth, his suit was transferred to Zach Thompson. Though other species are not typically allowed to wear Tech Jackets, Zach became an exception because of his help to the Regalians during a war. Brit. Brit is a close friend of Cecil and later becomes the leader of the Guardians of the Globe. Like Tech Jacket, he starred in his own comics before appearing in Invincible. He is over 100 years old and is completely invulnerable to all forms of damage, including poison and diseases. Even Robot couldn't find a way to harm him. His invulnerability comes from a special serum he injected during his youth. Brit plays a prominent role in the series and is appointed as the new leader of the Guardians of the Globe by Cecil. Rexplode was sold. In Rexplode's spin-off, we learn about his origin story. He comes from an extremely poor family and often resorted to crime to survive. One day, his family received an unexpected offer. A government agent proposed to buy Rex in exchange for a large sum of money, an offer his father accepted without hesitation. The agent later conducted experiments on Rex, granting him his powers. Later in his life, Rex attempted to ambush and kill his family, only to discover that they had started a new life with a different child, which caused him to abandon his plan as he didn't want to hurt an innocent kid. Thrag is Freddie Mercury. Many fans have noted similarities between Thrag and the iconic musician Freddie Mercury, leading some to believe that the villain's appearance was inspired by the singer. However, Ryan Ottley, the comic artist and co-creator of Invincible, disproved this theory. He clarified that Thrag was not based on Freddie Mercury and even shared an artwork showing how Thrag would have looked if he had been designed with Mercury in mind. Bulletproof is Invincible's original name. Bulletproof is a superhero and a member of the Guardians of the Globe. His name and design were initially intended to be that of Invincible before the series was published, but this idea was eventually dropped. The show referenced this concept both in the show and the comic, showing Invincible trying out Bulletproof's costume. In the comics, Bulletproof briefly replaced Invincible when Mark temporarily lost his powers. Invincible movie. In April of 2017, a film based on the Invincible comics, written and directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, was announced. It was also revealed that Invincible creator Robert Kirkman is attached to the project. Since the announcement, there have been few updates, but in 2021, following the release of the show, Kirkman confirmed that the movie is still in production and that he remains involved with the project. The Invincible Universe. The Invincible Universe is a spin-off comic written by Phil Hester, set after Invincible issue 100. The series focuses on different characters from the Invincible Universe as suggested by the title. It lasted for 12 issues and was later collected into the Invincible Universe Compendium, which included all the issues as well as other Invincible spin-off comics. Cecil and Donald are from Brit. Although Donald, and especially Cecil, play important roles in Invincible, they weren't originally from the Invincible comics. Donald first appeared in Brit issue 1, while Cecil made his debut in Brit Cold Death. Both comics were written by Robert Kirkman. Cecil and Donald were later fully integrated into Invincible, where they became key characters. Marvel Team Up Issue 14. Marvel Team Up is a series of comics published by Marvel that features 2 or more Marvel characters teaming up, often pairing popular heroes with lesser-known ones. Among the stories in this series, the 14th issue of the 3rd volume stands out, as it depicts a crossover between Spider-Man and Invincible. Invincible ends up in the Marvel Universe during his fight with Angstrom Levy, where he teams up with Spider-Man to take down Doc Ock. He also briefly meets the Avengers. This storyline was partially adapted in Invincible Season 2, but instead of Spider-Man, a new character named Agent Spider was introduced due to the lack of rights to Marvel's Spider-Man. Astounding Wolfman. Astounding Wolfman is yet another superhero from the Invincible universe who had his own series. The story follows Gary Hampton, a wealthy CEO of a record company who is mauled by a werewolf while on a family vacation. The series focuses on Gary's struggle to control his animalistic instincts and use his powers for good, despite the curse he bears. He even teamed up with Invincible during a crossover issue. The Astounding Wolfman comics concluded in 2010 after 25 issues, but the character made appearances in the Invincible comics and is expected to appear in the show. Scourge Virus. The Scourge Virus is a devastating infection unleashed by Thetis, which drastically reduced the Viltrumite population. According to Omni-Man, more than 90% of the Viltrumites perished due to the virus, explaining why so few Viltrumites remain in the universe. Thetis later expressed guilt over releasing the virus, as he underestimated its catastrophic effects. Later, Alan attempted to use a sample of the Scourge virus to eradicate all Viltrumites and end the war, but this plan faced opposition from Invincible and Omni-Man, as the virus could also pose a threat to humans. During this encounter, Mark was accidentally infected with the virus, causing him to lose his powers. However, he survived due to his royal heritage. The Walking Dead universe. During the fight between Invincible and Angstrom Levy, one of the alternate universe versions of Invincible bears a striking resemblance to characters from The Walking Dead, another comic created by Robert Kirkman. This particular universe was briefly featured in the Invincible TV show as well. While there haven't been any direct crossovers between the 2 series, fans have spotted numerous Easter eggs like this, referencing elements from both Invincible and The Walking Dead. Fortnite is canon. In the Invincible show, it's been implied that the crossover between Invincible and Fortnite is indeed canon. After being sent across the multiverse by Angstrom Levy, Invincible returns to his home reality and smacks Levy with a gun from Fortnite. This moment suggests that Invincible visited a Fortnite universe, leading fans to believe that the Invincible seen in Fortnite is the same character from the show. Guardians could beat Omni-Man. In both the comics and the show, Omni-Man single-handedly defeats the Guardians of the Globe. He takes advantage of a surprise attack and the fact that the Guardians were distracted, which raises the question among fans about whether Omni-Man could defeat them in a more fair or prepared environment. In the comics, during the reboot storyline, when Invincible is sent 5 years into the past, he approaches the Guardians while fighting Nolan. In this alternate timeline, the Guardians manage to defeat and imprison Omni-Man, showing that they were capable of fighting back against him when given the opportunity. Rexplode was supposed to kill Cecil. In the Adam Eve and Rexplode spin-off comic, we learn more about Rexplode's past. After he was given superpowers by a government agent, he was used by the agent to clandestinely take down his enemies, tasking Rex with sending ordinary items turned into explosives by his powers. Eventually, the agent revealed his ultimate mission, to take down the Global Defense Agency, claiming he was once in charge of the agency and that its new director Cecil was unfit for the job and had gone rogue. Rex, however, began to feel conflicted about his missions and instead of sending a bomb, sent Cecil a note saying, "I don't know who you are, but I just saved your life." This caused a confrontation with the agent, resulting in Rex accidentally turning the agent's glasses into an explosive, killing him on the spot. How was Battle Beast captured? In Invincible issue 55, Alan the Alien and Omni-Man escape from the Viltrumite prison. During the escape, Alan discovers that Battle Beast, one of the most powerful beings in existence, is also imprisoned. Battle Beast is known for being able to take on multiple Viltrumites simultaneously, raising questions about how the Viltrumites managed to capture him and keep him in prison. There are no concrete answers to this mystery, but Image Comics has announced a new comic in the Invincible universe centered around Battle Beast, set to release in April 2025. It is speculated that Battle Beast may have allowed himself to be imprisoned in order to find and challenge Viltrumites. Battle Beast's curse. While discussing Battle Beast, it's crucial to highlight his mysterious curse. An anthology comic, Skybound X, included a short story in issue 25 that explored Battle Beast's origin. It revealed that he hails from the savage planet Dorne, a world embroiled in endless war. As Battle Beast grew older, he discovered an uncontrollable rage within himself. His strength soon grew to match his fury, and through sheer force, he brought peace to his home planet. However, his rage continued to intensify, forcing him to leave the utopia he had built in search of worthy opponents across the galaxy to exhaust his fury. While the exact origins of this curse remain unclear, it's suggested to be hereditary, as Battle Beast's daughter displayed the same uncontrollable rage. Anti-Viltrumite suit. After spending centuries in the Flaxen dimension, Robot became corrupted by power. Upon returning to Earth, he began plotting to overthrow Cecil and establish himself as an absolute ruler. Aware that Invincible would oppose his plans, Robot developed special suits specifically designed to combat Viltrumites. These suits were constructed from volcanic tempered titanium, which Robot described as the strongest metal on Earth. However, knowing that even this material couldn't withstand direct Viltrumite attacks, he engineered the armor with precise angles capable of producing a high-frequency sound that inflicted significant harm on Viltrumites. This innovative design allowed Robot to hold his own against Invincible, even gaining the upper hand in their confrontation. The Best Tiger. The Best Tiger is a member of the Guardians of the Globe, joining the team after it expanded to include members from around the world. As you might have noticed, he's a parody of Marvel's Daredevil. However, unlike his Marvel counterpart, the Best Tiger isn't actually blind. He wears a blindfold purely to add an extra challenge for himself. He possesses enhanced senses and is an unparalleled marksman, famously taking out an entire gang with a single bullet. Angstrom Levy's son. In the final issue of Invincible, a new character is introduced who's revealed to be Angstrom Levy's son, possessing the same dimension-hopping abilities as his father. Accompanying him is a pet sidekick named Chainsaw. This character arrives in the Prime Universe seeking Mark, implying that he will follow in his father's footsteps as one of Mark's enemies. Not much is known about him, including the identity of his mother or the circumstances of his upbringing. Fans have speculated that he's more likely to become an adversary for one of Mark's children rather than Mark himself, given the story's conclusion. Mark refuses a mustache. Mark, despite being able to grow facial hair, notably refuses to grow a mustache, making him the only male Viltrumite in the series without one. In the final issue, Mark explains his reasoning for this decision. He believes that the Viltrumite ceremonial mustache represents the old ways of Viltrum, symbolizing their violent and expansionist traditions. By keeping his face clean-shaven, Mark seeks to distance himself from those traditions and embody his vision of peace and change for the Viltrumite people. Dead Viltrumites. During the Viltrumite War, when Mark, Nolan, and the rest of the Coalition arrived at planet Viltrum, Mark discovered that the planet was surrounded by a massive ring of dead Viltrumite bodies. Thetis explained that the entire planet had been turned into a tomb, serving as a monument to all Viltrumites who had fallen to the Scourge virus. The bodies were perfectly preserved by the coldness of space, a reminder of their sacrifice. Thetis also lamented that the planet was now unrecognizable, adding that there was nothing left of the Viltrum he once knew. Viltrumite twins. After Thrag was exiled by the Viltrumites, he set out to create an army of half-breed Viltrumites with the Thraxans. He had many children, among them twins Ursal and Onan, who became high-ranking members in the new army and were assigned to take out Mark and his family. Thrag explained that Viltrumite twins are extremely rare, and there hadn't been any cases of Viltrumite twins since the Scourge virus, making Ursal and Onan very unique. Thrag loved his children. After amassing an army of Viltrumite half-breeds, Thrag viewed them as disposable, using them as cannon fodder and showing only mild concern for the most powerful members of his army. However, there was one moment when Thrag displayed affection toward one of his children. After Onan was killed by Mark, his twin sister Ursal sought comfort from her father. In a rare display of emotion, Thrag hugged Ursal and expressed sorrow, vowing to avenge her brother. Mohawk Mark's universe. Mohawk Mark was one of the evil Invincibles who invaded Earth during the Invincible War, and the only one to survive after being trapped in a deserted universe. Following his release, he kidnapped Angstrom Levy, prompting Prime Invincible to travel to Mohawk Mark's universe. In this reality, Mark resides in the Pentagon, with other Viltrumites serving him without question. It is implied that Omni-Man is dead in this universe, as Mark is next in line for the Viltrumite throne. Mohawk Mark also revealed that Adam Eve is dead in this reality. Angstrom Levy previously stated that in some universes, Mark turned evil after losing Adam Eve, suggesting this is one such universe. After Mohawk Mark was killed by Rex, this universe's robot impersonated him, becoming Earth's new ruler. Adam Eve is immortal. Adam Eve is, in theory, the most powerful being in Invincible, as her powers allow her to manipulate matter on a molecular level. However, the scientist who gave her these abilities installed a mental block that prevents her from using her powers on living beings. This block is removed when Eve is in grave danger or sustains fatal injuries, enabling her powers to restore her body and even make her stronger. In the final issue, it is revealed that this ability activates even when Eve dies of old age, effectively making her immortal. However, if Eve subconsciously refuses to use her powers, her revival does not work. For example, when Eve was pregnant with Terra, she stopped using her powers to avoid harming her unborn child. Angstrom Levy explained that in some alternate universes, Eve has died during pregnancy because she refrained from using her abilities. Evil Invincibles become cannibals. One of the darkest moments in the series is the revelation that the evil Invincible variants trapped by Angstrom Levy resorted to cannibalizing each other to survive, as there was no other source of food in that desolate universe. By the time Prime Mark discovered this, only two of the evil Invincibles remained: Sinister Mark and Mohawk Mark. Mohawk Mark revealed that he hated resorting to cannibalism and eventually found an alternative way to sustain himself using his sweat. When Prime Mark encountered Sinister Mark, Sinister immediately attacked him. With the help of Mohawk Mark, Sinister Mark was ultimately defeated. Mark is the strongest character. Perhaps one of the most common questions asked by Invincible fans is, who is the strongest character? While a case can be made for several characters, the most common answer is Mark, after a 500-year time skip. Even as a young, relatively inexperienced Viltrumite, Mark took down several powerful Viltrumites, most notably Conquest, and stood his ground against Thrag in the final battle. It's been stated that Viltrumites grow stronger with age, so it's safe to assume that after the 500-year time skip, Mark became incredibly powerful. While we don't see much of this older Mark, we do see him fight the older Alan the Alien, one of the strongest characters, and defeat him effortlessly. The Boys crossover. Since Amazon owns the right to both The Boys and Invincible, both shows have been frequently compared by viewers. While there hasn't been any direct crossover, fans continue to speculate about a potential team-up. In the comics, however, there was a very small crossover between the two series. On the variant cover of The Boys issue 18, we see The Boys beating up a superhero wearing a yellow costume. It may not be immediately obvious, but this superhero is meant to be invincible. Mark has adrenaline theory. When Season 2 was released, a fan theory went viral on TikTok, suggesting that Mark, being half human, has adrenaline, while other Viltrumites do not, giving him an advantage. Throughout the series, we see Mark constantly being pushed to his limit and often emerging victorious when at his most desperate, such as during his fight against Conquest. After Mark's second fight with Conquest, Omni-Man stated that Mark was more invested in the fight due to his rage and adrenaline, leading fans to create this theory. However, it's also just as likely that Mark simply holds back most of the time and only uses his full strength when desperate. What happened to the deserted universe? The universe Angstrom Levy sends his enemies in has some interesting details. We've already discussed how Earth on that reality has no food, forcing Invincibles imprisoned there to resort to cannibalism. But we know that Invincible is capable of interstellar flight, and some of the evil Invincibles are perfectly aware of life on other planets, leading to a conclusion that in this reality, the whole universe is empty and deserted, not just the Earth. We see some remnants of a civilization in the backgrounds of this universe, implying that there was once life here, which raises a question. What happened to this reality? Perhaps some kind of massive cosmic event wiped all life in this reality, but this is only a speculation. Viltrumites have mustaches to honor Argall. We've already discussed that mustaches among the Viltrumites hold some ceremonial value, but the exact purpose remains unexplained. This has led to fans creating an interesting theory. Viltrumites grow mustaches to honor their late Emperor Argall. Argall, like all other Viltrumites, had a mustache and was greatly revered by his people, who almost unquestioningly followed his rule. Therefore, it's possible that they grow mustaches as a way of honoring an emperor they all respected. However, there are some holes in this theory, most notably the fact that Thetis, the Viltrumite who assassinated Argall and waged war against the Viltrumites, also sports a mustache, just like the rest of his species. The Cave Entity. Perhaps the biggest mystery in Invincible is the enigmatic being Invincible encounters on planet Thraxa, often referred to by fans as the Cave Entity. Not much is known about this being, not even its name, but it is shown to possess extraordinary power. After meeting Invincible, it sends him 5 years back into the past, suggesting its ability to manipulate time. During their conversation, the entity explains that it chose Mark because it saw him as a true hero, and sent him back to prevent future attacks, with the ultimate goal of restoring balance in the universe. It also claims to exist outside of time, perceiving everything at once, and that a mortal like Invincible wouldn't be able to comprehend its true agenda. One fan theory posits that these beings are similar to the Watchers from the Marvel Universe, beings that observe the universe but do not intervene directly, which could explain why the entity doesn't use its power to fix the imbalance itself. Unfortunately, the true agenda of the Cave Entity remains unrevealed, making it one of the biggest mysteries in the series. As you can see, Invincible is filled with obscure facts, interesting storylines, and countless fan theories, all of which create an incredibly intriguing Iceberg. There's so much more to explore in this series, and one video just doesn't do it justice, so feel free to check out other Invincible breakdowns on our channel for even more insights. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on more Invincible content.